You're tuned in to Shake, Rattle, and Goal, the official podcast of your Springfield Thunderbirds.
Echo's there on the backhand, scoring the save, rebound in the crease, they score!
Hosted by Matt Baker and Steve Forney. A show that's everything Springfield hockey, with interviews including players, coaches, and staff.
The Springfield Indians repeat as the Calder Cup champions.
Listen to this podcast on all major streaming platforms and wherever you download podcasts.
In his first year at the helm, Kevin McDonald and Drew Bannister have the teamers in the Calder Cup Finals.
Watch the podcast on the official Shake, Rattle, and Goal YouTube page at SRG Podcast. And now, here are your hosts, Matt Baker and Steve Forney. And this episode number 22 of Season 3, the Shake, Rattle, and Goal podcast is proudly brought to you by our friends at the TDS Center for Communication and Social Learning in Amherst. They're at tdsspeech.com. By the fine folks at MassCon United Training Center in Agawam, mcutrainingcenter.com. And I can finally see my grass again, and it still looks green. Thank you to Landscaping That Fits and Rob over there, landscapingthatfits.com. Alongside Matt Baker, I'm Steve Forney. Matt, how are you, my friend?
Doing well.
Good.
Good. I have a love-hate relationship with this false spring, right? Because it kind of gets you in the mood for nice weather and then kills you, and then it's nice and the sun's out and the birds, and then it's cold. But I'm doing well. How about you guys? How you doing?
It's like this is the I don't remember a year where it was this cold consistently, but even now, like this week, it's like if it's just 10 degrees warmer,
yeah,
the things I could get done.
Yeah.
I'm not going out there at 40. I'll go out there at 50. I'm not going out there at 40. But anyway, no, we're good. Everything's well. Everything's going great. We're in the playoffs. You know, I find the term, there's a lot of terms that get overused. Roller coaster is one of them.
But man,
this totally applies to this team. Good heavens, what a season this is. What a season this has been. What a season it's been to like be doing this as it's all happening is crazy. And yet here we are in the playoffs. It's nuts.
I have to add, honestly, in like, I wasn't planning on, but you're right? The roller coaster, the up and down. You have, I think we were around the same age. We grew up in the 90s watching hockey as a fan of it. But I think I'm going to defer this to you. I have never, in all my years of watching hockey since the 90s, but again, never this close. I can't ever think of a team that has been so Jekyll and Hyde, so Thunderbird and Wonderbird that this team has. And I will be honest and say, like, for me, I do think a lot of it changed with the coaching change, but even that to me is still, it doesn't make sense to me how you can go from win or lose, giving up 40 plus shots a night and getting doubled up in shots to the literal flick of a switch, go from win or lose, never more than 33 shots a game. Both teams, like, have you ever experienced a season like wins and losses aside, just the Jekyll and Hyde of this type of team? Have you ever witnessed something like this?
I have not. And you know, even as a kid going to games, it was, I mean, you're a kid, so you don't really, you know, you're not really focused on where we are in the standings or anything like that. The only way I can put it is, you know, we were talking to Tommy Cross. He said, you know, usually by November or, you know, Thanksgiving, you know what your team is. It is March 17th. It is St. Patrick's Day. I still don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
And you know, it's all I can say is enjoy the wins and the winning streaks when they come.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is fun. Like, how many times have we sat down and it's just been like, dude, what do we do? What do we talk about? How do we not just again rip the team for an hour? Like, we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So no, I've never seen anything really. I don't think I've really seen this like in any sport. You know, and I know we're gonna get to a lot of this in the fan rants too, but one fan rant that I really liked, which we're gonna talk about, mentioned how the reason why it goes like this is because the division is very top heavy. And that's true, you know, and that I think plays a big part of that too, because that's how you're in a playoff spot. That's how you win 3 in a row and then lose 4 in a row and then win 5 in a row and then lose 3 in a row. Like that, depending on your schedule, who you're playing, when you're playing. Is it a 3-3? Are you traveling? All those factors sort of come into play. And again, these aren't excuses. This is just the reality of the situation. And so, yeah, did it get hot when he made a coaching change? Yes. Did it get hot when you had a captaincy change? Yes. Could they go on this road trip and come back with no points? It wouldn't surprise me. Could they go and win and go on win them all? But could do that too. So it's really been crazy. It's been frustrating. It's been thrilling. In the grand scheme of things, I think it's sort of fun. I think at the end of the day, it's fun.
So let me ask you this now, and then we'll get into the Thunderbirds. This is an AHL question, and if you're not comfortable answering it, I get it, and I'll answer my opinion. Do you think the AHL then? Because I agree with you, and we'll talk about that fan rant where you look at different divisions, and here at the Atlantic Division, it is top heavy, and you look at other divisions, maybe not as much, but should the AHL look to try? And I know travel is the biggest hurdle that the AHL faces, but try to find some sort of way to at least level out standings within their division. And I say that in the context of, like, you think of the Thunderbirds, how many times do they play Providence? Like a dozen. How many times do they play Hartford? A dozen. How many times do they play Bridgeport? A dozen.
That's half a season right there.
How many times do they play Hershey? 4. And they're in the same division. So even within divisions, I've seen seasons where you're like, all right, well, again, and we've probably benefited from this when Bridgeport is just atrocious, even though we couldn't beat them. You're like, well, you've got all these games against this bad team, and you're only playing when Hershey was looked unbeatable. Thank goodness we only have to play them 4 times. Are you truly getting a true representation of what your division is? Or is Providence where they are, and because they play Springfield a dozen times, they play Bridgeport a dozen times, they play Hartford a dozen times, and I don't know what their schedule is. So again, Mike, can the AHL look to figure out some sort of way where you at least have to play your same divisional opponents the same amount of times, so you get a true representation of who really is the best team in that division?
Yeah, I think that's something that they can certainly look at. I mean, this division is tough, and it's going to be even trickier next year for the schedule makers if Bridgeport ends up in, where are they going? Canada, wherever they're
Western Canada, though. Like they won't be in the Atlantic Division,
right? So I will say I feel like in the past there have been more of those. I always called it the Pennsylvania Triangle, where you go down for a 3-3, and you play Hershey, Lehigh, Wilkes-Barre. Like, I feel like that happened like 2-3 times a year. I feel like it's happened maybe once this year. And again, I'm just going off of feel. I'm not looking at. They probably have. And
no, you're right. They in Hershey. They played in Hershey twice, and they're in Springfield twice. That's it. Done. And when they played Hershey, that was the beginning of the year as a back-to-back.
Yeah, right. That's true. So, I think that there could be a lot more of that. I would be curious to look, because again, I don't really know the geography of it, but I don't think this division is alone. I mean, obviously you have Providence, who's the best team, well, top 2 teams in the league. The North is a little bit more balanced. The Central, Grand Rapids is right behind Providence, and then it's relatively clustered a little bit. So, I don't know if this is the kind of issue that they have in other leagues. Not really an issue. It's just a way of presenting itself. Are you going to see more realignment? I mean, there's 10 teams in the Pacific Division, only 7 in the Central.
Yeah.
Obviously Bridgeport's going to move to one of those divisions. Charlotte makes it tough because you got to fly. So I don't know. I do think, there should probably be a couple more Pennsylvania swings, especially for a Bridgeport, Hartford, which I know it's only a half hour down the road, but it's still closer to Pennsylvania than Springfield is, a lot closer to Pennsylvania than Providence is. So I think that there could be more games to be played against the other half of the division. Charlotte you don't want to pound Charlotte with games, but at the same time, geographically, they are where they are. So should they be coming up and playing an 8-game swing against, Providence, Springfield, Hartford, doing the whole, running the whole gauntlet? Well, if that's how the division lays out, then maybe. Like, I don't know. I know that it's not easy. I know that it's not easy to put these schedules together. I know these guys and girls work really hard to do it. These men and women work really hard to do it. So, again, I also don't think this sort of difference in the division happens every year. But I mean, if you're Bridgeport, like, why was Bridgeport as bad as they were last year record wise? Well, when you're getting pounded by Providence once a weekend, you know what I mean? So
the Thunderbirds have the same amount of games against the Hershey Bears as they do the Iowa Wild.
Yeah.
And so again, record aside, I just wonder, because I love that fan rant, and we'll get more into how it affects Springfield specifically later. But it was like, I don't know, and I've always just thought it's odd how the AHL does it. It seems like it's still kind of stuck in the 1960s.
I feel the same way about the NHL. I hate what the NHL does. How does Boston Montreal only happen 4 times a year? What are you, nuts?
Yeah.
Why? Because I want to watch them go play the LA Kings at 10:30 at night. I don't want that. I have no interest in that. None. I don't want that. I don't need them playing the pick of the Minnesota Wild. I don't need that. I want them Boston Montreal, and then after that, I want them to go play Toronto and get Boston Toronto, and then I want to go down and play in Florida and beating the hell out of each other. Like, they should be playing 6 to 8 times a year against those teams. Yeah. So I don't think the AHL is the only one. And quite honestly, I think the only sport that has a legitimate system in place for scheduling is the NFL.
Yeah.
Because it's a pattern. It depends on where you finish. It depends on which division you're playing. Even the NBA, and I don't watch a lot of basketball, but what I hear is that, like, they keep scheduling nationally televised games that are on the second half of a back-to-back. And it's like, why? Why can't you just have a Wednesday where neither team plays Tuesday? Well, they can't do it that way for whatever reason. And then, of course, all the stars want to sit out because they don't play the second half of a back-to-back. And so you're not getting as good a product on national TV. So it's something that not just hockey and not just the AHL deal with, unless, again, you're the NFL, which we all know is king, and their system is mind-bendingly good.
Yeah. Well, they were just strategic. I think it was in the late 90s, early 2000s, when they did the whole realignment of conferences and they made it make more sense, where now there are 4 divisions within each conference. And maybe that's something that the AHL/NHL would ever try to think of. But it's complicated. There's not as much money coming into these leagues. So I realize the hurdles. Just something I thought of.
It's a fascinating idea to have 4 team divisions.
Yeah.
Or even 5 team, Providence, Springfield, Hartford.
You could do Providence, Wilkes-Barre.
You got to keep the 3 Pennsylvania together, and then
3 Pennsylvania together. Yeah,
it'd be tough to do. And again, that's what I'm saying. It's not easy. It's above our pay grade. So, like, and Bridgeport leaving makes it interesting, because otherwise you could just do the New England division, and it's those 5 teams, but it's not that easy. So those 4 teams, whatever it is, I can't even get it straight. So is it tough? Yeah. I think it's weird. We're already all done with Bridgeport. Like, we were all done with Bridgeport like end of February. So but we'll talk more about that coming up. That's what the people want. They want more of that talk from us. I guess we can look back at, because we do have a lot to get to. We can look back at the games over the weekend, which again, it's so nice to go into Providence and win, but it's nice to have a team like Utica come in. You should beat them. And you do. And you look good doing it.
Yeah. I thought, first of all, so Wednesday's game, the overtime loss with Providence, that was the Dropkick Murphys night. I think to start your week, those jerseys look awesome, by the way. Fantastic. I don't usually buy specialty jersey sweaters, but I might have to buy that one. It looks so cool. But a 2-3 overtime loss. I thought they played really well. Zarenko's in the net, plays well. Just a good way to start the week. I don't No, you were there. I was watching on TV. I think early it looked pretty empty, but I think more of a concert crowd kind of rolled in a little bit. So I don't know. I couldn't really tell how the crowd was on Wednesday, but I thought the team played like a Saturday night team. Sometimes this team plays up for the specialty nights and the bigger crowd. And I thought Wednesday they came out inspired, playing well, and it gave me vibes of like, oh, this team is pumped and coming off of the heels of the Pekka trade. I know we kind of released a quick little 10-minute live kind of a clip about our reaction to that, but I was surprised pleasantly. I was happy to see that. Saturday, another win against Utica, 6-3. They made it closer than it needed to be. I think, you're up 3-0 and Utica kind of climbs back in it, and you kind of let them in the third period, which is not good. I think if history was prepping us for anything, it was, well, here we go again, a collapse. But again, the new version of this team and Wagner behind his hat trick was just phenomenal. And then you end it back in Providence with a 4-3 win. Again, you're getting contributions from Wagner, Kaskamaki, Dubé, Pekarchik on the power play. So your young guys and your captains are leading the way, and that's what you need in a playoff push, and that's what we're getting. So I think this is, albeit, I know the highs have been high, the lows are low, but all positive, all good stuff. Just about the games.
I mean, 3 power play goals in 3 games is nice. That's nice too. And yeah, I mean, you mentioned it, not only just the guys and the faces and the names that we've seen all year, but you are getting, Thomas Bordeleau had a nice weekend. Akil Thomas looks like he's finally starting to hit a little bit of rhythm there. Marc-Andre Gaudet with another goal. So, you're looking at guys that are not the usual, that are really starting to contribute and starting to help this team win. And that's where I think it's not your primary scoring, which, let's be honest, your primary scoring almost all came from Matt Luff. He ain't here anymore. Yeah. So if it's not Chris Wagner or Matt Luff, that was your primary scoring. Now we're starting to see the secondary and tertiary scoring, which is really if you're going to make the playoffs, you're going to need that. That's going to be a big part of it. So, nice weekend, really top to bottom, back to front on this roster. And, you talk about losing Lindstein and Stenberg up to St. Louis, and you're still able to put forth not only a acceptable roster, but have that roster perform the way that they did. It was a home run. So,
yeah. Let's talk a little bit about Wyatt Newpower suspension in that Saturday game. He came over from Syracuse in the Pekka trade, and I believe it was his second shift, like within the first few minutes of the game. Got called for kneeing, the 5-minute major, game misconduct, and the AHL came down with a 3-game suspension. Let me comment on this first, and then you can move on if you'd like, or you can share your thoughts.
Okay.
The
words and expressed and views and opinions are that of Matt Baker and Matt Baker alone. Go ahead.
100%. Yes. Thank you. I do completely understand what the AHL is in the NHL, for that matter, is trying to do with this kneeing, especially coming off the heels of the Austin Matthews out for the season.
Radko Gudas, yeah.
With a similar type of play. I don't necessarily think Wyatt Newpower's looked as bad, but nonetheless.
It looked quicker and not as deliberate.
Correct. Like
the play happened faster.
Yes, and as a result of him losing the puck, he kind of like turned his body and his leg went out. So I understand, and I am not arguing for less player safety. However, when I'm comparing this to Rafai's 1-game suspension of a deliberate multiple punches to the face of another player when he's down. And I know this is apples and oranges. I just like things that make a little bit more sense. And in the act of playing hockey, I think the call on the ice, 5-minute major, game misconduct is warranted. I think a 1-game suspension, I would just be commenting, here, he got a 1-game suspension. I wouldn't have an opinion. 3 games just seems like a lot. Again, comparing it to just Rafai's situation with the Marlies when he was pounding on, who was that? Johannesson? Who was he?
Robertson.
Simon Robertson. A month or two ago, they're in a fight. Robertson goes down and he gets 2 punches connected, still thrown on him as he's on the ice. So I don't know. That's my only. Should Rafai have gotten more, or should New Power have gotten less? I don't know. But when you're looking at the two, and again, I know it's apples to oranges, it just doesn't make much sense to me how someone is deliberately punching someone when they're down. And this was in the act of playing hockey. It didn't look intentional. It wasn't premeditated. This is 3 games. That's all. That's my, and then rant over. Because again, I would never advocate for less player safety. And I get why the league is doing it. I just, 3 games, really? That's all.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I'm wondering if there's something, and I think it's only 2 games.
Oh,
But
okay.
Well, but I mean, when you're thrown out 2 minutes into the game, it pretty much is 3 games.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Maybe that's how I read it. Okay,
So,
that's fair.
So there is that. And again, I don't know if there's a history for New Power of suspensions. I haven't looked into that. You're right. I do think part of it had to do with what happened between Gudis and Austin Matthews. Like that was like 2 days before, not even.
Yeah.
So, maybe if it's a different time of the year, different situation, different player, I don't know. Maybe it would have been a little different, but I don't know. I'm wondering if maybe even there's something in the rule book that says if there is a game misconduct for kneeing, it is an automatic 2-game suspension. I don't know that. There is language like that in a lot of sports rule books where if this has what happens on the ice, this is what's going to follow it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Could have been that too, but you can't do that though. You gotta be smarter with your body. And look, I get it. Butterflies, new building, new team. You're looking around, you don't even know what team you're on because all the jerseys aren't what you're used to. And boom, So, hey, they were able to pull it out in spite of that. And I think it was a good team win. I think that really set the tone too. Them killing off that 5-minute major set the tone for the whole game, which was amazing. And I will say real quick, Akil Thomas made a play, I think, in the first period.
Yes. You sent me a text about it.
I did,
exactly
because I wanted to remind myself and you where he literally dove like a shortstop to a loose puck to knock it out of the zone, to clear the zone, to get a line change for an exhausted bunch on the ice. And I said, You know what? No matter what you thought of Nikita Alexandrov, he ain't diving anywhere.
Yeah, he's not making that play.
He's not making that play. And so when I talked earlier about these guys really starting to step it up, that's the kind of thing. Those are the kind of things. Akil Thomas is not an old, wily vet, but he's not a kid either. Mm-hmm. And so those are the plays that your Pekarchiks and Stützles should be looking at and saying, whoa, like, all right, like we want more. We need more of that. Like, I can do that. Like that's the effort, the energy, lead by example. That's the kind of stuff to me that makes a huge difference. So that was, believe it or not, my favorite play of the whole weekend was him just diving to get that puck out of there, because that was huge. And that was, like I said, something you're not going to see number 17 do.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I think it's plays like that. It's a 5-minute penalty kill early in a game that sets the tone, that wills the team to a 6-3 win against Utica. Like obviously it's obvious to say, well, if they don't kill that penalty, they don't win 6-3. Well, no kidding, because they let up a goal, right? But it is setting the tone, mentality. It's well, if he can do this, I can do this. And I think that's also the standard that Steve Ott has laid in front of this locker room to say, and again, Leo Loof is a player I like, but he has not been in the lineup as consistently as he was earlier. And so, hey, if you are going to take some bad penalties, this is the standard that we set. and you have to be accountable for your play. And Akil Thomas, if you're diving for it, you'll get more playing time. And pick a name, Dylan Dubé. If you want more playing time, let's see that hustle too. And I think that sort of competition within is leading to the results that we're seeing now.
I think Dylan Dubé has been phenomenal for a month at least.
Yep.
And I think that if they had to call up anybody else, he should be the next one. He's earned it. And I think that if he gets called up, he's not coming back down.
Yeah.
Because Mike Meyer and I text regularly, and that was sort of our discussion is if he goes up, he's not coming back down.
Yeah.
And I think that his play has been again leading by example, but he's just been good. He's a good hockey player. And this team has done so much to work over the roster. I don't know if I said it or not, but my daughter, when I told her they traded Pekka, she looked at me with tears in her eyes and goes, "It's like we're getting a whole new team." I said, "It is." I know.
Yeah, it is
like we're getting a whole new team. Like look at the roster. Like look at the roster from game 1 to now. It's like bananas how different the roster is. Yet here they are in a playoff spot, and how hard that is to do. When you're having this kind of turnover, when you're changing coaches, when you're changing captains. I've never seen anything. You talk about something I've never seen before. I've never seen that. I've never seen a coaching change, a captaincy change, and a team still make it to the playoffs in 1 year. That's, again, hopefully in a playoff spot. That's crazy. Like, that's bananas. And that says a lot about the guys in the room, right? Like, that says a lot to me about the leadership in the room and the guys in the room and their will and their want and their desire to win games. And I think that's why we're at where we're at.
I just counted according to the Thunderbirds website right now, Tuesday evening, there are 12 players on their roster who were not on the day one roster. So talk about flipping your team now, like in person, as it's going down. You're pretty much flipping half the team with faces: Thomas Bordeleau, Dylan Dubé, Julien Gauthier, Anthony Romano, who we're going to talk about in a little bit. The guys that were not on the day one roster. Akil Thomas, Zach Dean was not on the day one roster for this team.
Because it's funny, I have the rosters right here from the first game of the season. Guys that were here that aren't here now, if you want to count call-ups: Theo Lindstein, Corey Schooneman, Johannesson, Dvorsky, Alexandrov, Stenberg, Sam Bitten, Matt Luff, Matthew Pekka. So, I mean,
9.
Wow, like that's a lot. That's a lot of names. So, like,
that's more than half of your starting. That's more than half of your day one starters not on the team anymore. And that's another first. I can't think of a team that flipped over so drastically within the course of a season. And whether they make the playoffs or not, here we are in the middle of March in a playoff spot. Credit to the players still there.
I'll give you 2 more. Lucic and Joseph.
Oh, Jesus.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
Lucic. How do you forget? How do you forget? Yeah, Milan Lucic for 2 weeks or whatever it was. Yeah, geez. Oh, man. Crazy. All right. Quick. Anthony Romano, Lachlan Getz. Anthony Romano is a player who's been playing in the ECHL for the ECHL affiliate, has been doing really well over there. He's the forward. Lachlan Getz is your defenseman who's on the PTO, similar kind of situation as what Lucic was on. So he's on his professional tryout. First thoughts, impressions on them, Steve?
So I like what I've seen from Romano. I think he looks like a guy that has scored 30 goals, which I think is what he's had in the ECHL. Yeah. Like he has this confidence in him. He has this feeling of like, good, I should be an AHL player. Mm-hmm. Get me out of the E. I should be here. The other guy gets there. I didn't have I haven't really been able to put a read on him. I mean, here's a kid that was literally playing. I think Ryan said he was playing in the college division playoffs last weekend for Holy Cross, and then boom, you're thrown into the AHL. So that's a quick turnaround. I mean, I think he signed and then was in the game within like 45 minutes, really, which is crazy. So that's a tougher one to gauge. But Anthony Romano, I think, to me, is one of these guys that if he stays in the system, will start next season with the Thunderbirds and will be an impactful player. I really do.
It's almost like we talked about this pre-show, because that's kind of my thoughts on.
Steal your take.
No, that was just it. I mean, I didn't think either one of them. Obviously, they played in Sunday's game, which was a 4-3 win in Providence against the best team in the AHL. Did they get a whole lot of meaningful minutes late in that third period? No. But that I don't mean that as a knock to them. They literally, like you said, hadn't practiced with the team, haven't been with the team much at all. I don't think they were a liability. I think Anthony Romano is similar, is on that Jakob Stützle kind of track where, hey, this is a guy we're going to see a lot of next year, so let's plug him in a little bit now. Zach Dean is on the day-to-day injury report, so is he just kind of a fill-in until Zach Dean gets healthy? In the AHL, there is no roster maximum. You could have as many players as you want practicing with you. So is he a guy that just kind of sticks it out for Lachlan Getz? Is he a guy while Wyatt Newpower is suspended, Theo Lindstein is called up? Is he a guy that you can just throw in there and give a Calle Rosen a night off? Maybe. Is he going to give you the same thing Zach Berzola is going to give you? Then sure, why not just rotate them through? But again, this is one of those things to me that it seems like low risk, fair reward. You have a back end player who's a depth player. Like, is he going to be a top 2 D pairing? No, I don't think so. No knock on Lachlan Getz or anything, but for who he is, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
Right. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. So no risk there. Again, while you have Newpower on suspension, while you have Lindstein up in St. Louis, sure, roster him. And
the other nice thing with Getz is, like, if you're Anthony Romano or you're Will Cranley and you get sent back down to the ECHL, at least if it were me, I don't know this about them, but if it were me, I'd be like, really? You're going to send me back down? Like, I've been up here, like, I've been crushing it down there. I finally get called up. Now you're going to send me back down? Whereas this Lachlan Getz, you could be like, hey, buddy, guess what? We're going to send you to Florida. And he's going to be like, yay!
Yes.
So is that sort of mental
Mom,
mindset.
I made it.
Yeah, right. I'm playing professional hockey. So there is that little, that sort of mindset to it too.
Fair.
And that's fair for really, if that's how Romano and Cranley felt, I think that's totally fair. I do need to see more, though, of Romano. And I got to be honest, I was shocked that they actually, like, my biggest thought was when I saw Getz on the ice, I said, I can't believe they actually have a jersey for him. Mm-hmm. Whoever stitches the name of the jersey and the number, I don't know how they managed to get that jersey to Providence for Lachlan Getz. That's how quick that turnaround was. Bananas to me. But like you said, let's stop doing, and we haven't done it a lot this year, but the days of Hunter Skinner playing forward and dressing 7 defensemen and let's just load it up and not have to do any of that. So we'll see. We still have a ton to get to here on the show, folks, but I want to tell you about the fine people at the TDS Center for Communications and Social Learning. They are located in the center of Amherst. Founder and owner Teresa Dooley Smith, along with her husband Brian, have spent their professional lives dedicated to the children and young adults of Western Mass since 1996. Their staff is proud to offer a variety of therapeutic interventions, direct family supports, and consultation services. They offer a variety of individual, small, or big group sessions to fit the needs of each individual. For more information, you can visit tdsspeech.com, or you can call them at 413-835-0735. By the people at MassCon United Training Center, the fine folks over there. It's your one-stop facility for all your training needs, regardless of your talent level. MCU has room for you to improve your craft. Training for soccer, lacrosse, baseball, golf, hockey, floor hockey, field hockey, weight training, agility, and a great place for a birthday party. I know we're going to have spring birthdays soon. People are going to want to be outside, but until then, great place to have a birthday party. So you can give them a call there as well, 413-301-6040, mcutrainingcenter.com. And of course, by our friends at Landscaping That Fits and Rob Fitzpatrick over there. Use the promo code SRG10 to get 10% off your 2026 fertilizing program. Now, I don't know this for a fact, but I don't know how long that window is going to be open. this 10% off thing. It's spring. It's middle of March.
It's now. Yeah.
You can't call them up in mid-April and say, hey, can I get 10% off? If I'm him, I say, no. The SRG podcast has been telling you since November. No.
22 weeks.
22 weeks. Seriously. So, no, but in all seriousness, hop on that for all your fertilization treatments this upcoming year, the whole year of 2026. He'll be there beginning of spring, and he'll be there till the end of fall. So definitely worth it. My lawn looks great. I am a customer, so I recommend you be as well. Landscapingthatfits.com, promo code SRG10. Back to you, Matt.
All right. So real quick, let's update our bracket, and then we'll get into some fan rants and talk about the upcoming schedule.
Copy that.
In a surprise, at least surprising me, Hofer beats Tommy Cross in kind of a landslide. Hofer with 83% of the votes. He beats Tommy Cross for the defensive / goaltending side of the bracket. So our championship for the greatest T-Bird of all time, Joel Hofer versus former captain tier Matthew Pekka. I'll just say this, folks. Please don't let the recent news of the past 2 weeks sway you in this. Take a minute and think about this. Who's your favorite T-Bird of all time? Joel Hofer, most memorable for that goalie goal in the Calder Cup playoffs against the Penguins. He was instrumental while Charlie Lindgren was up with St. Louis in their playoffs, leading the team into, I believe, all the way to the conference championship before Lindgren came back. Great guy, always interacted with fans at signings and things like that. And Matthew Pekka, who, fourth captain in Thunderbirds history, wore the C for, if we call this a full year, this was his third year wearing the C, I believe.
Sounds right.
Yeah. So, just a steady, consummate professional. So there you go. Hofer versus Matthew Pekka.
And you're totally right on that. I would hope that the fans would be like, he's not here anymore, and Hofer is, so yeah. No, think about it. Think about your interactions with them. Goalies, I think players, fans have more of an opportunity oftentimes to interact with players that aren't goalies. Goalies, especially on games days that they're starting, they are locked in. And it's not, you say, hi, goalie, and they don't ignore you because they're mean. They're ignoring you because they are locked in. So, Pekka was one of my favorite players to ever come through, if not my all-time favorite. I talk about that time I saw him at a restaurant over the summer, and he came over, had a great conversation with my kids. Just an all-around phenomenal human. Yeah, and like we said on the thing, right? I want my son to grow up to be just like Pekka. I want my daughter to bring home a guy just like Matthew Pekka when that time comes too. So just one of those guys, and this will be fun. This will be fun to figure out. All right. Do we want to do fan rants?
Yeah, let's do some fan rants, and then we'll rip out the upcoming schedule, and that'll be a wrap on episode 22.
Okay, awesome. Now Facebook is killing me with their new rules. Also, we're getting so much action on our stuff. That video that I posted of the goalie fight,
Cranley fight, yeah.
Holy smokes. It's getting all kinds of traction. By the way, also, thank you while I do futz around here.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for the TikTok follows. We are over 100 TikTok followers now.
Oh, nice.
So if you're on TikTok, feel free to give the SRG podcast a like.
Let me just, this is Nick Fazios, who we referenced this earlier in the show, but let's give him credit and let's share his rant.
Yeah, sure.
So this is Nick. Honestly, it's because the division is top heavy. And
hang on. Can I stop you real quick?
Yes, go ahead.
So you worded this week's fan rant as, so if anybody hasn't seen it on Facebook, if, and a big if, the Thunderbirds will make the playoffs, blank was a big reason why, and you asked the fans to fill in the blank. So
thank you for the context. Yes, you're right. So here's Nick's response. It's because the division is top heavy and there's a big drop off from there. The T-Birds are very lucky to have this be the year they are inconsistent. I think we're going to look back and see not one, but two inconsistent teams within this division throughout the year will get in. The Thunderbirds have a pretty tough stretch of 5 games coming up, but if they grab 4 points or so, they should be favored to get in as long as they don't totally bottom out with the amount of home games and strength of schedule in April. If one of those current bottom teams get really hot, I wouldn't be shocked to see one of them as high as 4th, just based on the math and how banged up Hershey is. And so, Nick, a great context, great answer. Agreed. And just so everybody knows, I have the AHL standings here in the Atlantic Division. Obviously, Providence is running away with it, 91 points. Then you got Wilkes-Barre Scranton with 82. Then you got Charlotte Checkers at 75. Then Hershey at 4, Lehigh Valley at 5, Springfield at 6, all within 8 points of each other. And then you have Bridgeport at 7, tied with the Thunderbirds, Hartford at 8, 6 points away. So I kind of mathematically, is Hartford out of it? No, but would be shocked to see Hartford make a push this late. But you really do have 4 teams vying for 3 spots, and all of them, they're within 8 points of each other. 6 points, I'm sorry.
These are going to be the weekends that are going to be crazy, because I obviously haven't looked at the schedule for these other teams, but at some point Bridgeport's going to probably be playing Hartford, and at some point Lehigh Valley is going to be playing Hershey, and at some point you are going to be playing all those teams too. So someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. So as long as teams aren't giving up the pity point in overtime, a lot could change here, and a lot could change in a hurry. So it's a great point by Nick, and it's definitely one of these things that we're just going to have to keep our eye on as we go forward. No doubt about it. Matt says, not bad getting 5 out of 5 out of a possible 6 points. And then they said, Steve, where were you Saturday night? Brady was there on the mic. Something came up. That's all. Something came up. Nothing I hate more than missing games. Something came up. My friend Lindsay, who I love over there in section 1, 31 or 1, the blank, they get there because of blank, is goaltending. And she's not the only one who thinks that way. Nate Vila, goaltending, 100%. Keep the 3-man rotation for the rest of the season to keep goalies fresh. Couldn't agree more, Nate. Ride the hot hand. Now you got 3 chances. You got 3 cracks at it. Z's been playing great. He's been getting the bulk of the starts, but we've talked about this for years. He gets hot, he gets cold. So when he gets cold, great. You go to Romanov, you go to Cranley, great. Having these options, even if you make the playoffs, being able to play more than one goalie. I've never believed that goaltending in the playoffs has to be what it was in 1997 with Martin Brodeur and Felix Potvin and Chris Osgood and Mike Vernon. No, rotate your goalies. Why not? Rotate your goalies. No team wins the cup with just one guy. I mean, Florida's had to go to Alex Lyon in goal in the playoffs. Like, that happens, and it happens often. So I love the 3-man rotation in goal. Absolutely, Nate. 100%.
Yep. I think we see a steady, absolutely. And I agree. We've been talking about this all season. Goaltending has never been their Achilles heel this whole season. Goaltending has probably been the most consistent a part of this team. Not answering the fan rant, but Jason Paninsky's fan rant, I want to talk about this as well. Players should get penalized for smashing their sticks and breaking glass in frustration. Happened twice this year with no consequences. I kind of agree. And I don't know, do you know, Steve, if teams get fined for that? Like, can Springfield send a bill to Utica for the glass that was broken?
Certainly should. It ain't free.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You send the bill. And that was a funky looking piece of glass. That wasn't just your regular pane that they got. They probably have the regular pieces. They probably got 45 of them back there. That's a unique piece. I mean, if somebody did that in the game next weekend, Springfield might say, I don't have a piece of glass to use.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny because as they're trying to fix the pane of glass, you can see all the Thunderbirds fans, because now the glass isn't there, so they can get right at them. They were giving it to them.
Yes, they were. You could tell on
it was TV. Great. Oh, that was awesome. But yeah, I'm down for a penalty for that. Absolutely. Well, I mean, there are times where guys have gotten extra unsportsmanlike for doing it in the penalty box.
That was what I was going to say. We've seen Mackenzie McEachern. We've seen
Adam Gaudette got
Adam
one.
Gaudette. We've seen players smash their stick in frustration in the penalty box. Now, granted, that clearly is frustration
towards the ref.
Yeah. So I get that. So don't call it abuse of officials, but delay of game. That's a delay of game.
It is a delay of game.
It is a delay of game. So 2 minutes. There you go. You want to break your stick, walk down the tunnel, and break your stick back there. Well, granted, you probably break something where the camera's not on it, so maybe don't do it. But
brick walls and stuff back there.
You're playing hockey. Hit somebody.
It's true.
So I'm with you, Jason, and I think Sam commented on it as well. Should it be a fine? Suspension? Maybe not. I don't know if that needs to be a suspension. A fine? Absolutely. A 2-minute delay of game? Yes, because it was. So that's my second rant of the day. I'm on fire today.
I like that one. John Gorzica, I'm going to say it was. The Thunderbirds are where they are because of blank. He says fan support. Now, I don't think over the course of a season it can be strictly that one thing. However, I will say you guys, despite everything that this team has gone through, all the ups and all the downs, still keep showing up. Last I saw, 92.5% capacity for the season, which is a massive number. You guys do just continue to show up and support this team no matter what. And so I love that. And as somebody who sits there and works it, I greatly appreciate that. And you guys come in making it loud, yelling thank you when I do the last minute of play. It's awesome. You guys have really crushed it this season. Do you want me to do Mike's stream of consciousness?
Wagner go for already, it. And then Wagner,
Wagner already wears the C better than Pekka. I don't necessarily agree there. T-Birds not that it's a shot at Pekka at Wagner. I just think Pekka was awesome. T-Birds had 2 to 3 goals in the blue paint this weekend. Those are goals we didn't score at other points in the season. I think it's a reflection on the lunch pail work ethic from Steve Ott and Chris Wagner flowing through the team. That I can 1,000% agree with. He once again didn't like Johnny Daniels on the ice as an official this weekend. I think that it was not the best game Saturday in that department. And this is now at least 2 times where it's been Johnny, but I'm sorry. I'm still going to back the officials 99% of the time. Thunderdome was electric Saturday. Wednesday, not so much related to the concert crowd. I agree. It's no offense to the team or us or anybody else. I think there are people that bought a hockey ticket because they wanted to go to a concert.
Yeah. And great job, front office. Like, that's fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, how many times, there's been multiple occasions where I buy a ticket to a concert at the Big E, but it's not like I go to the Big E for 5 hours and then go to the concert. I go to the Big E for like 45 minutes, grab a corn dog, and then I walk to the concert. So that was sort of the only comparable that I could have is like, if your favorite band's playing the Big E on a Wednesday, that doesn't mean you're at the Big E all day Wednesday. It means you're going to a concert. So that I sort of agree with as well. Team competes with Providence, bounces haven't always gone their way. That aside, playing a borderline NHL squad is very tough. This team can make a sustained playoff push. I'll tell you what, I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. If I'm Providence and you're looking at the playoff standings, do you really want to play Springfield? And I know they beat us last year. I think they beat us 3 years ago in the playoffs. But man, if there's one team who really knows how to play Providence tough, it's Springfield. I mean, I would want no part of that.
They're not intimidated at all. I think.
Yeah.
Well, and now the last 2 wins that the Springfield Thunderbirds have over Providence, if I'm not mistaken, came by doing something no other team has done all year long. Up until Sunday, Providence had not lost a game if they were leading going into the 3rd period. The last time Thunderbirds beat Providence, they were only the 2nd time. They ended their 14-game winning streak after giving up the first goal of the season, which again is another thing that Providence, if they score the first goal of the season, they were something like 30-1 up to that point. So they're just not at all scared. They're going to play Providence for 60 minutes. They have confidence to do that. So I agree with you. I think that's one team they do not want to see.
One thing real quick. Last year, Bridgeport had 10 wins all season, and it felt, I'm pulling these numbers out of my keister, but it feels like 6 of their 10 wins were against Springfield. Providence only has 12 losses this season, and I feel like 6 of them are to Springfield.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that cycle is coming back around again.
Yeah. I don't have the numbers in front of me either, but you're close. That's pretty spot on. I just want to highlight something. Mike, Sam, Andrew, John, they all kind of commented about Wagner wearing the C, Pekka wearing the C. Let's not get, I have no gripes. Matthew Pekka, I will take any day of the week. Was he having a year like he had last year? No. Rarely do players in the AHL have back-to-back dominant seasons. It just doesn't, that's not typically what happens. So I did say earlier in the season, and I mean this to no disrespect or slight, like maybe the makeup of this team and Pekka's leadership style is not a perfect marriage. Maybe there was something to that, but I don't think it's fair after one weekend, after 3 games, to say Wagner's leadership is better than Pekka's or this team. Too small of a sample size. The Thunderbirds have been on 3-game point streaks when Pekka was a captain, right? Like, so I don't think that's a fair comparison to make. I don't think it's fair to say if Pekka was still here, we don't win those games. Like nothing. Was he having the same type of year he had last year? No, but not at all was he a reason for this team losing. And
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Go. No, you finish.
Who says he can't be back next year?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a free agent.
He's a free agent.
He's got, again, I don't know any of this, but like, I imagine he's been here long enough to maybe he, they have, him and his wife have friends. They have little kids. Are their kids going to school locally? Like there's 1,000 things that can go into those kind of decisions. And I'm not ruling out the fact that maybe he's back next year.
Yeah.
So, now your leadership group is Wagner with an A, Wagner with a C, him with an A, Callie Rosen with an A, because he just got re-upped.
Yep.
Boom, you're in business. You got 3 veterans there running your team with Steve Ott, who's also going to be back next season. So I don't rule that out as a possibility either. And quite honestly, I'd love to see it. I'd love to see Matthew Pekka back here.
Yeah, agreed. And I was going to say, if you had me put together a lineup for the last minute of every game, Pekka's on it.
Agreed.
Pekka's on it. The last minute of a game, went down by a goal, tied, or up by a goal, Pekka's going to be on it. So is Wagner, right? But both of them are clutch face-off guys. So I'm not on the boat, and I don't think it's fair after or at any point in the season to sit there and say, "Oh, he's better. He's this. He's that. He's this." They might do things differently. Up year, down year, this year, that year. Don't fans just be careful. Don't get into a bashing session just because somebody's not here anymore. They were great while they were here. And then I agree with you. Who's to say he's not back? If he is, welcome back, so
for sure.
That's it for my fan rants, unless if you got one more.
Yeah, no, I'm good. We're pressed for time. We're rolling along here. So,
yep.
We got a couple of games coming up this weekend. Friday night is against Laval in Laval. These games always get interesting for whatever reason. I don't understand why or how, but there's something about Laval that gets chippy and aggressive and angry, and I'm here for it. Mm-hmm. So I'll be comfortably watching that one from the couch and waiting for some fireworks to explode. Then you go to Belleville, a team that you have played well against, and is not. Belleville is, they're in 6th place, just like you. They have 56 points. You have, as do you. So you guys got the same amount of points. These are the kind of teams where you look at and say, Springfield, are you a playoff team or aren't you? Because if you are, you got to beat Belleville on a Saturday night of a back-to-back in March. You have to do it. And then Wednesday, I'm looking forward to this one big time. Wednesday, March 25th against Providence. So Providence comes here to the Mass Mutual Center. And again, we just talked about the Thunderbird success against Providence. At that point, there's a chance Providence might not even have a lot to play for. They might have new guys on the roster. They might be playing more Simon Zajac in order to keep DiPietro healthy for the playoffs. So there's going to be a lot of factors that go into that one. And I'm curious to see how it all shakes out. So 3, I think, really big games here, especially in terms of the standings. It should be fun. Let's see what this team's really made of.
Yeah, I think you can highlight these next 5. Obviously, we have 2 up north. Then you have next week, you have the Wednesday home, and then you have 2 away at Lehigh Valley, at Providence. After those 5, you come back for a nice, healthy. You got a lot of home games. You got 3 against Hartford in there. So these 3, and I think it was Nick's fan rant that we talked about earlier. He highlights this as well. This little stretch here to end March is vital. They don't have to all be wins, but you need to sprinkle in the points here, because come that April schedule where you have all these home games, 3 against Hartford, they're all pretty much, with the exception of Syracuse and the Americans, all within your division. Those are the games, like those are have to win. I agree with you. Use it to your advantage, Springfield, that you are a playoff caliber team that's fighting for a playoff spot. And you have teams like Providence who can kind of relax a little bit. Those are scary matchups. Those are trap games. You got to win those. So this weekend, 2 up north in Canada, Laval and Belleville, you got to come away with points to continue this point streak going. Right now, you're on a 3-game point streak. I'm fine with getting into overtime on these, because if Laval or Belleville get a point too, I don't care. It's your division games that right now it's got to be regulation wins.
Even Providence, I don't care. You're not catching them.
But at the end of the day, that's what I was going to say, is you're absolutely right. At this point now, where you are, Springfield in 6th, tied with the Islanders for points, one of you are not making the playoffs, Springfield or Islanders. One of you are not. And look, no offense to Matt Luff, but how great would it be? You trade away Matt Luff for the Islanders playoff push, and then you are the ones. You don't play them anymore, but if you're getting your points and you're taking care of your business, it doesn't matter what other teams do. You can only, you're full steam ahead looking at yourself in the mirror. So I think a big weekend up north in Canada, got to get points here, got to continue to play well. And then you come home Wednesday against Providence, and who knows what can happen there. But this is, I think, to end March, these 5 games, crucial stretch. If you get anywhere from 5 to 6 points, I think you're in a comfortable spot going into April with all the home games.
And what fun! Who has more fun than us, as Jack Edwards famously said? I mean, who would have said we'd be having this conversation in November? If you said November, we're talking playoffs in April, we'd have told you you're bananas.
Yep.
And yet here we are. So that's awesome. That's exciting. This is what being a fan's all about. So
yep.
We look forward to this end stretch here. We want to give a big thank you to our friends at the Mascon United Training Center at mcutrainingcenter.com, by our friends at the TDS Center for Communication and Social Learning, tdsspeech.com, by our buddy Rob at landscapingthatfits.com, promo code SRG10. Thank you to all the fans who, again, have been showing out at these games, who are following us on social media, watching our videos, watching our content. Look, we don't sit down and do an impromptu episode about Matthew Pekka being traded for our own health. We don't do that for us. We do that for you. And you guys watch and comment and get involved and interact. And so that's what makes us say, you know what? I'm glad we did that. If nobody watched it, then we're just talking to ourselves.
Which we do on some weekends anyway.
We do that. Yeah.
So, this is fun, but no, thank you for listening. Continue the likes and subscribes. This has been a fantastic year, especially the way the season started. And we know it's easier to listen to us and watch us when the team's winning. It's funner stuff, funner commentary. So thank you for sticking through. But here we are in the playoff push. T-Birds, we need you. You need us. It's late. I got to get to bed. Listen, Joel Hofer, Matthew Pekka, vote on the poll. I'll be putting up a graphic later this week. Vote on the poll who you want as your greatest T-Bird of all time. We might not announce the answer till later in the year. Maybe that'll be one of our SRG award segments there for greatest T-Bird of all time. But look for that to vote. big wins up north. Let's get some poutine and some wins. Let's go T-Birds.